Okay, so you mentioned that you wrote this book, or you envisioned writing this book for the first time when you were 19. What made you write the book at this particular moment in your life?
1 year later.
1 year later.
You know, I think I had been honestly piecing it together for so many years. It felt like I kind of wanted to, you know, do this vision justice before I moved on to other projects. But it was really the first idea I ever had for a book, and it was, you know, as a teenager, I remember wishing there was a book that would have like an index of, you know, experiences or feelings where I could, you know, open it up and find just the words of encouragement or guidance that I needed at that time. And, you know, they say if there's a book you want to read and you can't find it, it's the one you're meant to write. Yeah. So I obviously took that to heart.
Yeah, I know. And I love that you called it, or you described it as an encyclopedia of feelings. So what are those different chapters in there?
So when you open to the table of contents, it reads as, you know, read this when you don't know what your purpose is, or read this if you don't know what you want. Read this if your heart is broken and it feels like it will never heal. So it's definitely, you know, painting in a broader stroke, but I'm hoping that it will be able to reach and touch people at various valleys in their lives.
So if somebody is watching and they feel a little stuck, what's the very first step that they can do today to start moving really toward the life that they want?
I always say starting a journal. And, you know, for me, it's about being able to organize your feelings and think more clearly and just get connected to your inner voice. For me, you know, that's obviously writing's always been a big part of my life, but even outside of writing books and professionally, you know, it's a practice that's really, really meant a lot to me and has helped me tremendously over the years. And so I think that for anyone watching or listening and, you know, desiring to begin that journey for themselves, you know, take out a pen and a piece of paper. How are you feeling today? What are you thinking? And kind of start tracking it. And, you know, it's really like a mirror to get to know yourself better, I think.
And almost manifesting, too, what you want to see in your life. Yeah. Your words really have become a lifeline for so many, for millions, really. So when you need perspective, inspiration, or comfort, who or what do you turn to?
First, my journal, but then also the authors and books that I've loved so much over the years. Cheryl Strayed's Tiny Beautiful Things. I've probably talked about these books so many times. But reading has always been a great love of mine. And I've always said that, you know, the authors that I most admire taught me how to think by the way that they wrote. And so if not journaling, then also picking up a book and getting a new perspective on something.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably so much knowledge in this book, but if there was only one thing that somebody needed to remember, is there a one-liner or a mantra that people can kind of keep in their back pocket?
If there's one thing to remember from the book, it's actually just that you are not alone. But there is one chapter in the book that's just one sentence, and it's read this when you can't stop, I believe, worrying what other people think or fearing what other people think. And the line is just, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Oh. So I think that's
really powerful, yeah. What is one question that you think everyone should ask themselves more often?
What would my 90-year-old self wish I had done right now?
What about you? What do you think your 90-year-old self would want?
She'd be really proud that I'm here right now.
I love that.
I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure she would. But that's such a good one because you really don't think about what your future self is going to think, and you want to be proud of the life that you've lived.
And I think it helps you kind of zoom out and remember what matters and recommit yourself to what's really going to matter in the end.
Yeah, it's like that trend that's going around right now where I keep seeing I had coffee with my 13-year-old self, or I had coffee with my 20-year-old self, you know, and it's like you start to think about, oh my gosh, what would they be thinking now, or where I am now with like whatever's happening in your life. Yeah. Wild. Brianna, thank you so much.
Thank you.